Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by saying Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahweh Shai, Barakah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers that are out there pushing and spreading the truth, which is the gospel of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Shai, I found a few articles, and I just thought I should bring it out. And also, the main purpose, the main point of this lesson is to again highlight the fact that the prophecy is always working, and that the hand of the Most High is still upon this world, and that His will be done, and that we are closer to the kingdom. So the title of the first article says, "Do Russians want the Soviet Union back?" Which I believe the answer is yes. Well, now they try to slick tongue it, and I'm gonna read it. But I read the whole thing. They try to slick tongue it, but I know that they actually want that same power. They want that same power that they had back then, And they brought this article out. After this article, it says Putin comments on the collapse of the USSR. And these are some of his comments. It says, the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 was a tragedy, and saw the disintegration of historical Russia, right, that had been built up over 1,000 years, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Sunday. Speaking as part of a TV documentary on the modern history of Russia, Putin lamented the loss of an immense amount of territory and population. He says that it was a tragedy for the vast majority of the country's citizens, right? And like I said, man, this is how they try to frame it, as though it's all about, the citizens. But I don't believe that was so. That happened 40 years ago, and it seems weird that now that they choose to emphasize and now they choose to bring it out. With this whole thing of the smell of war is it's all in the air. That's what they're always doing. They're always preparing for war. So it seems to me, at least, that they're edging, they are gradually making up their case to justify themselves. All right, and Ezekiel 38th chapter, he's gonna put hooks in thy jaws. We can only guess what that motivation is gonna be. How is the Most High gonna motivate these people, right, to go all out? We're just gonna have to wait and see. The president said, after all, what is the collapse of the USSR? It's the collapse of historical Russia, called the Soviet Union. Putin also recalls how Moscow lost control of 40% of its territory and roughly the same amount of production capacity and population. Now, you see how I say he begins by making it seem as though it's about the citizens, right? When they lost their territory, their citizens were left over in certain countries. They try to make it as though it's only about them, but it's not, because they keep speaking about power. They keep speaking about economy, the economic structure of the company, of the country back then. They say it's about one thing, but they keep bringing up other things, right? These are some of the things that make me think as though they really do want that power back, and that they are what? They are sour about the loss, right? About the fall of the Soviet Union. It says we've turned into a different country completely, and what has been built up over 1,000 years, to a large extent, has been lost. He added, overnight, 25 million Russian people found themselves abroad in the republics of the former USSR, which had gained independent sovereignty. The president noted, however, that becoming an independent state was probably a good thing for many of the republics that Moscow formerly controlled. But, that's how you know that he's a devil. Because how did they control these things? They controlled it by taking over other people's, by invading other countries. So when he hints at having that form of glory back, when he hints at having that power back, what does he need to do to get that power back? He needs to do the same action that they were doing back then. That's it. It was impossible for them to go back to be reunited with their relatives. There was no place to work, no place to live. There's a great humanitarian tragedy, no exaggeration, and as for the Russian people, it became a genuine tragedy. Tens of millions of our fellow citizens and countrymen found themselves beyond the fringes of the Russian territory, he said. And I fully believe that this is gonna I guess this reminiscent of their glory back then. They're gonna say it differently now. It's gonna turn into something different. So, and then they bring out this article to salvage the whole thing, to make sure that people ain't looking them in a sus type way, but they read. It says, in Western eyes, right? Gorbachev is a heroic figure who ended the Cold War and brought freedom to Eastern Europe. In the eyes of ordinary Russians, however, he is a man who managed, in the space of just 6 years, to bring a superpower to its knees and impoverish its people. A poll published last week by the Russian Public Opinion Research Center found Gorbachev to be the most hated person of the Soviet era, with 1 in 5 respondents singling him out. That means the USSR's last premier is far less popular than its first, Joseph Stalin, named by just 1 in 10. And like I said, they salvage it at the last sentence, which says that the Soviet system was both repressive and inefficient. Russians are better off without it. 30 years on, Russians' intense dislike of Mikhail Gorbachev is not a sign that they want to go back to the time before him, but it suggests that many of them think that they could have gotten rid of communism in a much less harmful way, And I can only assume the much less harmful way that they were thinking of was to keep the things that they stole, and then just to have somehow find a way for people to live with them conquering them. At least that's how I see it. Esau, man, you can't put nothing past Esau. But I don't want to feel like I'm talking too much. So let's get right into the scriptures. Again, it's supposed to be quick. After this, I'll probably end it right there. So like I said, man, we see that the hand of the Most High, it's upon that land, man. The Most High is doing they've done a complete 180. They are becoming barbaric. They will be greedy, man. There's gonna be, the scripture says that the gold is not gonna pacify them anymore. Riches ain't gonna pacify them. Ezekiel 38, the word of the Lord came unto me, Son of man, set thy face against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you. Why is the Most High against Gog? Because ultimately Russia is a kingdom, is one of the kingdoms that Yahweh, with the power of Yahweh, right, invested in him, will bring down, man. He will pull down. He will destroy it. So it says, I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around and put hooks in thy jaws. And this motivation, like I said, is anybody's guess. But we know it will happen. We believe it will happen. And bring you, so you put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. So they'll be out. The Most High is going to put something in them that all they want to do is fucking kill, man. War is the only thing that they want. man is really staring down the whole NATO nations, all of them, and he ain't moving from no border whatsoever. You know, what does that tell you about him? It says Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops. The many nations with you. All right, and this is happening. And this is a visual representation of Gog and Magog, and this place is what it's how do I put it? It's identified with what? Scythians, which were the Siberians, which is what? Russia, the land of Russia, right here. You know, although Gog may be like from the descendant of Japhite, and you might say, well, hold on, you know, this is Russians are Edomites, so why is it saying Japhets are the ones that are gonna that the Most High is gonna use, you know, to play this important role in World War III? Well, that just, you know, that doesn't, how do I put it? The simple answer to that is that it's not referring to the people per se, it's referring to the land, you know. And also, you know, also when you use deductive reasoning, we know that this is happening in the last days, okay? This event is supposed to happen in the last days, you know? As a matter of fact, Gog and Magog is mentioned in Revelation as going into the land of Israel, you know? So seeing as how we in the last days, and seeing as how the only people in that land who have the power, who have, I guess, who exhibit the attributes of this character that the Most High plans to use, it is obvious that it's talking about Russia. You know, similar to how when we say Babylon, we are referring to Edomites, but the Babylonians were in Edomites. You see how everything adds up? So I don't want this to be too much. I just wanted to bring this out, that yes, they do want that power back. They are planning towards having been a Soviet Union, you know. So with that, you know, they see these capitalist nations falling and regressing, and that only means one thing for them. To them, in their eyes, it just means that they were right all along, and that they got to go back to what they were doing before and control the world. So with that, I hope edification goes out. I hope brothers understand. I just wanted to bring out the fact that the prophecies are always working. All right. So I hope we understand that now. To the brothers that are watching, them say Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashar Barakatha. To the few Aquafs that are watching in truth and sincerity, I want to say Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashar Barakatha. And may the blessing of election be upon all our houses. May we be part of the tabernacle of David, and may the Most High chooses to save us. May the salvation of the Most High, you know, extend towards us, and may His grace never depart from us, right? And may we all have a seat reserved in the chariots, all right? So until the next video, Shalom.